Chapter 1: Learning English Through Activities. Hi, I'm Natasha, and today I'm going to talk about how learning English through activities can make your language journey not only easier, but also a lot of fun. Have you ever thought that learning English could feel more like play and less like study? Well, through activities, that's exactly what can happen. Learning English doesn't have to be just about sitting with textbooks and doing exercises. In fact, one of the best ways to learn is by doing. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." When you're involved in an activity, your brain is more engaged, you remember things faster, and best of all, you enjoy the process. In this series, we're going to look at how different activities, like games, storytelling, music, and even drawing, can make English learning easy, exciting, and memorable. But before we dive into each activity, let's talk about why activities work so well for beginners and how they solve many of the common problems new learners face. Why activities work so well for beginners? When you're a beginner, English can feel overwhelming. Many learners worry about their pronunciation, vocabulary, or grammar, and sometimes these worries make people feel stuck. Activities can break down these barriers because they allow you to learn naturally, without pressure. By using games or stories, you're not just learning. You're practicing English in ways that are meaningful and connected to real life. Let's look at a few of the reasons activities help you learn better. Activities are engaging. When you play a game or listen to a story, you're naturally interested and focused. This means you're more likely to remember new words and expressions. Learning through context. Activities provide context. For example, if you learn the word delicious while talking about food, you're more likely to remember it because you connect it with a real experience. Practice without pressure. Many beginners feel shy or worried about making mistakes, especially when speaking. Activities give you a chance to practice without fear, making it easier to build confidence. If you're watching this podcast, you may already know that at Natasha English Academy, we have videos that focus on improving English skills through different methods. Make sure to check out those videos if you want more tips on getting started. Common challenges and how activities help solve them. Most beginners face a few common challenges: feeling nervous about speaking, forgetting vocabulary, struggling with pronunciation, or finding it hard to stay motivated. Here's how learning through activities can tackle these problems. Problem 1: nervousness about speaking. Many learners are afraid of making mistakes when they speak English. This is completely normal. When you learn through activities, especially group activities or role-playing, you practice speaking in a relaxed setting. There's less pressure, and you can even have fun while speaking. For example, playing a vocabulary game with friends lets you focus on using words rather than worrying about making mistakes. Problem 2: forgetting vocabulary. It's easy to forget new words if you only learn them from a list. However, when you learn vocabulary through storytelling or drawing, you link the word to a specific memory or image. You're more likely to remember sunshine if you've drawn a sunny day and labeled it in English, or remember happy if you've used it to describe how a story character feels. Problem 3: pronunciation difficulties. Pronunciation is a big challenge for beginners. It's normal to feel unsure about how to say new words. Using songs or mimicking characters in stories can help you get the sound and rhythm of English naturally. Singing along to a song in English, for example, helps you focus on pronunciation while enjoying the music. Practice with this, and soon you'll notice improvement. Problem 4. Staying motivated. Let's face it, sometimes learning a new language feels hard, and it's easy to lose motivation. But when learning feels like a game or a fun project, you're more likely to stick with it. Playing a new game every week or creating a story can keep things fresh and exciting. What this series will cover. In the coming chapters, we'll explore different types of activities and how each one can help you learn English in unique ways. We'll start with games, which are perfect for practicing vocabulary and sentence structure. Then we'll dive into storytelling, where you'll learn how to improve listening and speaking skills. We'll also look at using art and drawing for vocabulary building, music for pronunciation practice, and finally, real conversations for fluency. Each chapter is packed with tips, so make sure to follow along and don't forget to comment with your thoughts and ideas. Have you ever tried learning English through activities? If so, share your experience. And if not, what's one activity you're excited to try? Thank you for joining me today, and stay tuned as we dive into these fun and practical methods for learning English. Remember, the journey of learning a language is all about enjoying the process. Let's make learning English a wonderful adventure together. Chapter 2. Learning English through games. Games make learning English not only fun, but also a great way to remember new words, phrases, and even grammar. Imagine practicing vocabulary while playing a game. No boring drills, just excitement. Playing games can turn learning into an experience you actually look forward to. As Walt Disney said, "It's kind of fun to do the impossible." Learning English can sometimes feel impossible, but games make it much easier and enjoyable. Why games work so well for learning English. Games are powerful because they engage both your mind and emotions. When you're playing, you're focused on winning or achieving something, so your brain is fully active. This focus helps you remember what you learn. Plus, games are perfect for practicing without the fear of making mistakes. If you make a mistake in a game, it's not a big deal. You're just playing after all. This relaxed approach helps you feel comfortable with English, even if you're a beginner. Here's why games are an excellent tool for language learning. They motivate you. Games make learning exciting. Every time you play, you're motivated to learn more because you want to win or improve. They help you remember better. When you learn through games, you link new words and grammar to fun experiences, which makes them easier to remember. Practice without pressure. Games give you a chance to try using English in a friendly, pressure-free environment. You don't feel judged or worried about mistakes. If you're looking for examples of games you can play to improve your English, check out my channel, Natasha English Academy, where I demonstrate a few simple English games you can try at home or with friends. Types of games to boost your English skills. Now, let's talk about some specific types of games you can play. Each one focuses on different aspects of language learning, like vocabulary, pronunciation, and even grammar. 1. Vocabulary games. Vocabulary games help you learn and practice new words. Here are some fun ones you can try. Word bingo. Create a bingo card with different English words. When someone calls out a word, you cross it off if it's on your card. This game is great for memorizing new vocabulary. Matching games. Write down pairs of words and their meanings on small pieces of paper. Shuffle them and try to match each word with its meaning. This is a fantastic way to learn and reinforce vocabulary. 20 questions. In this game, one person thinks of a word, and the other player has 20 questions to guess it. Each question must be answered with yes or no. This game helps with vocabulary and critical thinking. 2. Grammar games. Grammar can be tricky for beginners, but it becomes a lot easier when you turn it into a game. Grammar bingo, similar to word bingo, but with different grammar rules on each square. For example, a square might say present tense verb, and you have to say a word that matches. It's a fun way to reinforce grammar rules. Fill in the blank stories. Create a short story with missing words. Have someone else fill in the blanks with different nouns, verbs, or adjectives to make a funny story. This is a great way to practice sentence structure and parts of speech. Charades with verbs. Act out different verbs, like jump, run, dance, and have someone guess the action. This game helps you remember action words and understand them better. 3. Pronunciation games. Improving pronunciation is easier when you're having fun with it. Tongue twister challenge. Take turns saying English tongue twisters like, "She sells seashells by the seashore." This game helps with pronunciation and also makes you more comfortable speaking. Imitation game. Listen to a short sentence or word and try to repeat it exactly as you heard it. This game is especially helpful for practicing pronunciation and understanding the natural rhythm of English. Rhyme time. Think of a word, and each player has to come up with a word that rhymes. This helps with pronunciation and vocabulary and can be a fun challenge. Beginner challenges and how games help. Let's address a few challenges beginners face when learning English and how games can help solve these problems. Challenge 1. Feeling nervous. Many beginners feel anxious about speaking in English, especially in front of others. Games like charades or role-playing help you speak without worrying about being perfect. You're focused on playing, so the nervousness fades away. Challenge 2. Struggling with vocabulary. It's hard to remember new words if you're just memorizing lists. Games make it easier to remember vocabulary because you're actively using the words in a fun context. Each time you play, you're reinforcing those words in your memory. Challenge 3. Difficulty with pronunciation. Pronunciation can feel awkward at first. Games like tongue twisters or imitation challenges allow you to practice pronunciation in a low-stress way. You don't have to get it perfect. You're just playing, so you can relax and enjoy the process. Tips for making the most of English games. To get the most out of these games, here are a few tips. Play regularly. Make games a regular part of your learning routine. Even playing for just 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. Play with friends or family. Learning is more fun when you're not alone. Play games with friends or family who are also learning English, or even teach them the game in English. Set small goals. For each game, set a goal like learning 5 new words or practicing 1 grammar rule. This way, you know you're making progress with each game. Track your progress. Keep a notebook where you write down new words or phrases you learned from each game. This will show you how much you're improving over time. If you've tried learning English through games or have a favorite English game, share it in the comments. I'd love to hear what's working for you and any other creative ideas for learning English. Games are an incredible way to learn English because they turn study time into playtime. You're learning naturally, enjoying the process, and making steady progress without even realizing it. So let's make English learning exciting and interactive. Try a new game today, invite your friends or family, and start practicing. Remember, the more fun you have, the better you'll learn. Chapter 3. Storytelling as a tool for language learning. Storytelling has been a way for humans to communicate, learn, and entertain each other for centuries. Stories capture our attention, engage our imagination, and help us remember ideas more vividly. When you use storytelling to learn English, you're not just memorizing words or grammar. You're immersing yourself in the language, making it easier and more enjoyable to understand. As the famous writer Maya Angelou once said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside you." Every story you listen to, read, or tell in English helps unlock the language and bring it to life. Through storytelling, English becomes something you experience, not just something you study. In this chapter, we'll explore how storytelling can help you build vocabulary, improve listening skills, and boost your confidence in speaking. Let's dive into why stories are such a powerful tool for learning English and how you can use them to become more fluent. Why storytelling works for English learners. When you learn English through storytelling, you're doing more than just practicing language. You're also developing a deeper understanding of culture, emotions, and different perspectives. Stories connect ideas with feelings, making it easier to remember words and phrases. Here's how storytelling works as a language learning tool. It creates context. Instead of learning vocabulary in isolation, stories place words in context. You learn how words and phrases fit together naturally, making it easier to remember them. It engages emotion. Stories trigger emotions, whether it's excitement, curiosity, or empathy. When you feel something, your brain is more likely to remember the experience. It makes learning fun. Let's face it, learning English can feel like hard work, but stories are entertaining, which makes the process enjoyable and helps you stay motivated. If you're interested in storytelling as a method, remember to check out my channel, Natasha English Academy, where we have videos focused on using short stories to build vocabulary and improve comprehension. Types of storytelling activities to try. There are many ways to incorporate storytelling into your English practice. Here are a few activities that are perfect for beginners. 1. Listening to audiobooks or podcasts. Audiobooks and English podcasts for beginners are excellent for practicing listening and expanding your vocabulary. Start with simple stories, such as fairy tales, short fiction, or even children's stories. The language in these stories is usually simple, making it easy for beginners to follow along. Tip: as you listen, try to jot down new words or phrases. Listen a second time and see if you can understand more of the story. 2. Reading short stories or graded readers. Graded readers are books written specifically for different language levels. These stories use simplified vocabulary and grammar, which makes them perfect for English learners. Tip: read a short story and try summarizing it in your own words. Summarizing helps reinforce what you've learned and improves your ability to express ideas in English. 3. Retelling stories in your own words. Retelling is a great way to practice speaking and to make sure you've understood a story. After reading or listening to a story, try telling it to a friend or even just out loud to yourself. You don't need to remember every detail. Just focus on the main ideas. Tip: don't worry if your grammar isn't perfect. The goal is to practice expressing yourself and becoming comfortable with English. 4th, role-playing characters in stories. Role-playing is an enjoyable way to bring stories to life. Choose a character from a story and pretend to be that character. Act out scenes, or have a friend play another character and do a little dialogue exchange. This is fantastic for improving speaking and pronunciation. Tip: focus on expressing emotions while you speak. This will make your practice more realistic and help you sound more natural in English. Common challenges. Beginners. Face with storytelling. Here are some common challenges beginners face with storytelling, along with tips on how to overcome them. Challenge 1. Understanding everything in a story. It's natural to feel frustrated if you don't understand every word in a story. Remember, it's okay to miss a few details. Focus on understanding the main points and general idea of the story. If you come across a word you don't know, try guessing its meaning from the context, or write it down and look it up later. Challenge 2. Feeling shy about speaking. Retelling a story or role-playing a character can feel intimidating at first. Start by practicing alone. As you get more comfortable, try telling a friend or family member. Remember, everyone makes mistakes, and the only way to improve is to keep practicing. Challenge 3. Forgetting new vocabulary. Stories introduce you to a lot of new vocabulary, and it's normal to forget some of it. Write down words that interest you and review them later. You could even try using these new words in other sentences or stories to reinforce your memory. How to make the most of storytelling for language learning. Here are a few tips to help you get the most out of storytelling as you learn English. Choose stories that interest you. Pick stories that genuinely capture your attention. Whether it's fantasy, adventure, or mystery, you'll learn better if you're interested. Revisit stories. Multiple times. Listening to or reading the same story multiple times can help you catch details you missed and solidify new words in your mind. Practice summarizing. After finishing a story, try summarizing it in a few sentences. This will help you remember the key ideas and practice structuring sentences in English. Engage with the characters. Try to understand the emotions and actions of the characters. This will help you connect with the language on a deeper level and make it easier to remember phrases and expressions. If you're already trying storytelling or plan to start, share your experience in the comments. What's one story you enjoyed, or what's a new story you're excited to try? Storytelling turns language learning into an adventure. Each story introduces you to new words, emotions, and ideas, helping you build your English skills in a natural and enjoyable way. Remember, every story you read or listen to is another step on your English learning journey. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to understand and communicate in English. Chapter 4. Learning English through Art and Creativity. Art and creativity are powerful tools for learning any language, especially English. Through activities like drawing, painting, and crafting, you can explore new vocabulary, practice describing things, and even learn grammar in a natural, fun way. When you express yourself through art, you're engaging a different part of your mind, which helps reinforce the language and make it more memorable. As Pablo Picasso once said, "Every child is an artist. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up." In learning English, embracing creativity can keep you motivated and excited, just like an artist. Whether you're a beginner or an advanced learner, art can help you connect with English on a deeper level, giving you more confidence and helping you speak more naturally. In this chapter, we'll talk about different art-based activities and how they can make learning English easier. Let's dive into how creativity can open up new ways to improve your language skills. Why art is helpful for learning English. Art-based learning is more than just fun. It's a powerful way to remember language. Here are some reasons why art and creativity work so well for English learners. You learn visually. When you associate words with visuals, like colors or shapes, it becomes easier to remember those words. For example, if you learn the word sunset while drawing a sunset, you're more likely to remember it. It reduces stress. Art is relaxing, which makes it easier to stay motivated and not feel pressured to be perfect. When you're relaxed, you're more open to absorbing new words and phrases. You're actively using language. When describing your artwork, you use adjectives, nouns, and even verbs. This gives you a chance to practice vocabulary and sentence structures in a way that feels natural. On my channel, Natasha English Academy, I've shared some videos that introduce vocabulary through creative activities.